this is the front page of that notes packet. There are a lot of different constructions using the compass that we handed out to everybody that we can make, but we're going to focus on 2. I've highlighted them here. If you don't have a highlighter, that's okay. Just circle them, underline them, put a star next to them. We are going to focus today on constructing a segment congruent to a given line segment. Okay, so remember, segments have endpoints on both ends, right? We can measure them. We can't measure a line because it goes on forever. We can't measure a ray, it goes on forever, but we can measure a segment. So we're going to have a given segment, and we're going to use the compass to create a congruent segment. What did congruent mean? What did we say in our notes congruent meant? Anybody remember? If you don't remember, you're going to write it down here. It means equal. Okay, so if you forgot that that means equal, write equal. Congruent means equal. Equal measure. So we're creating a segment that's going to be the same length, the same measure as one that's already drawn. And we don't have a ruler. So we're not going to do it with a ruler or a tape measure. We're going to do it with a compass. We're learning how to use the compass. Okay. And then the other one that we're going to focus on. Okay, so that's the first one. And then we're going to focus on constructing a bisector of a given angle. Okay. Bisect. If you don't know what bisect means, I'll explain it when we get there. Okay, so these are the 2 we're going to focus on. So we're going to start. Flip the page to this one that says the congruent segment congruent to a given line segment. This is the one. This should be the first page when you turn your packet open. Okay. Now, the steps are listed out here, but then I'm going to come to the board and walk you through. I've got a big board compass I'm going to show you. So I'm going to demonstrate. We're going to talk through the steps. You can make little side notes if you need to. And then I'm going to walk you through an example at the board, okay? So if you are given a segment, in this one it said PQ, and we want to create a segment that's the exact same length as PQ, okay? The first thing that you would do is you would mark a new starting point, okay? So they just marked a new starting point R here. That's where this point appeared from. Okay, and then they open up their compass. This is a picture of the compass, and they open it until the point is on one end point and the pencil lead is on the other end point. And then they tighten it again so the hinge doesn't move. Okay, so you can practice opening and closing your compass. Put the point on P and the lead on Q, and then tighten it or make sure that it doesn't move from that size. Because we're using the compass to measure the segment. Then you move the compass down here to point R. You put the point on a point R, and then you use the lead side to draw an arc. You don't let the point move off of R. You put the point there and you just turn it. And if I turned it all the way around point R, what would I make? If I kept the point of the compass in one spot and I turned it all the way around, what shape would I make? Somebody said it real quietly, a circle. Okay, you would make a circle if you went all the way around. We don't need a full circle right now. We just need a little arc of our circle. So you put the point at your new starting point, and then you just make an arc any direction you want, because we talk about a circle. It doesn't matter, from the center of the circle to the edge is the same distance all the way around, right? That's what a radius is. So it doesn't matter where on this arc or what direction you draw the arc, okay? And then you're going to label a new point somewhere on that arc. So this one is labeled S, okay? Now you use a straight edge. I gave you the protractor not to measure with, but just to use as a straight edge. You put it and you draw a line connecting your 2 points using your straight edge. And now that segment that you just constructed is the exact same measure as the given one. So now these are congruent. We kind of understand that? And we're going to practice with these four. I'm going to walk you through the first one here, and then y'all are going to try some on your own. And Ms. Bogus and I will walk around and help, okay? So let me move this camera over here. I'm going to freeze that on the screen. And then move this because I'm recording and I want them to see me at the board. Okay. So I'm going to go up to the board and show y'all how to do this. On the video, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me at the front of the room, but you'll be able to watch, and I'm just going through the steps we just listed. I'm going to just go back over this first segment and see if it shows up. So I'm going to put an endpoint at A and B just to help it stand out. Does that show up on that camera?
No. Why is it doing that?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just the reflection from the projector.
You can't see anything. It's just a white screen.
What if I draw it over here? Can you see it?
Yeah.
You can? Okay, I'm going to do ours off to the side so the people watching on video can see it. They can't see because of the reflection of the projector. Okay, so I'm going to pretend this is my AB. Okay, so that's what was given. So I'm going to take my protractor, okay, and my pencil. I get to the first step on your paper, it says, just make a new starting point. Okay, so we're going to make a new starting point. I'll do mine right above it, or you have space here under, so I'll just do it under. And it doesn't have to be even, just draw a point. And you can label that whatever you want. Make it your initial. I'm going to make mine S, because my name's Sarah, so I'm going to call that point S. Okay, you can name your point whatever you want to name it, as long as it's not A or B, because A and B are already used. Okay, some other letter. So now I'm going to take my compass. Remember, I have a point side, and then I have a lead or pencil side. Okay, mine has a marker. Okay, so you're going to take the point of your compass, okay, and you're going to place it on either point, either endpoint. I'm going to do A. So you put your point there, okay, and hold it so it doesn't move, okay, and then you're going to open your compass until the lead is touching the other end. Okay, so that's how wide mine had to open. Okay, yours is on paper, it's gonna be a little smaller. Okay, but you put the point on one end and open your compass until the lead is on the other end point. Everybody doing that? And then don't adjust your compass. That is the measure of the segment. So now I'm going to take my point side and I'm going to put it on my new starting point that I labeled. Okay, I labeled mine S, whatever you want to label yours. And then I'm going to make an arc. My green marker's not showing up very well. I'll make it darker here. Okay, so if you can't see that, this is where my arc showed up. Yeah, I should switch my green for purple. Green's drying out. Okay, so I made an arc. Has everybody done that? Yes? Okay, so now I'm going to label a second point anywhere on that arc. If you want yours to be horizontal, your segment, since this one was horizontal, put it like right in the middle-ish. Okay, it doesn't matter though. I could put it here and draw my segment at an angle. That doesn't change the length of it, right? All we're worried about is the length right now. So you can put that second point anywhere on your arc and label it whatever you want to label it. I'm going to label mine F. My last name's fine. So my segment's going to be SF, my initials. Now you're going to take your straight edge, okay, which I gave you a protractor, but if you don't have a protractor, a ruler or something with a straight edge, you can always just use the end of another piece of paper. Okay, just something that has a straight edge, okay, to help you make sure your line segment is straight. Okay, And then I'm going to connect them. Now my line segment SF is congruent to line segment AB. Those are the exact same length. And I didn't measure with a ruler or a tape measure, did I? But I can confirm it. Don't want me to prove it. I could measure this AB that I have is 40 centimeters. This is 40 centimeters. So without using a ruler, I was able to construct a congruent segment with my compass. Does that process make sense? Okay, so there's 3 more here for you to try. Okay, so you're gonna have to change your compass size to the length of that segment. Put the point on one end, the pencil on the other end. Okay, and then you get to name your new starting point, draw your arc, and then connect your, and put a point on your arc and connect your dots. Okay, so take a minute and try those other 3. Okay, and I'll walk around and help if you're unsure what you're doing. But I want you trying B, C, and D. Okay. You should be trying B, C, and D. So open it up to where when you put it on the end, pencils on the other end. Have to open it up a lot. Once you have it set to the right size, just anywhere down here, put a new starting point, just draw a dot for a new starting point. Somewhere on your paper. Okay, I'll get you another one. Okay, so if you have it set, now you have your new starting point. So now you move the tip of your compass to the new starting point. You can pick the whole thing up, it's okay. And now do an arc with the pencil lead. Just twist it a little bit to make an arc as long as that point stays on your end point. Yep, just like that. Starting point. Now draw with your regular pencil. You can set the compass down. Just draw a point somewhere on that arc. And now use your straight edge to connect the dots. The straight edge of the protractor connects the dots. Good. Okay, if you finish B, try C and D. Anybody else needing help or an explanation? Okay, now I'm going to write underneath mine a congruent statement. It doesn't ask you to do this, but this is going to review what we talked about with that word congruent. I think that was, I think it was on Friday. We took those notes originally, and then we kind of went over them yesterday. So congruent means equal measure, right? So if I have drawn segments that are equal, I can write a congruent statement. So what would I call this segment, the original one given? How can I name that? Only 2 points on it. Remember lines, rays, and segments we name with 2 letters, 2 points? There's only 2 points here. What are they? A and B. Now with a segment, I can go forward, backward. It doesn't matter as long as it's the ends. So I could call it AB or BA. I'll just go left to right. So I can say AB and then I have to use my symbol for segment. Okay, no arrows, it's a segment. So segment AB is congruent. Remember the congruent symbol is the equal sign with the squiggle? Okay, what would I name this segment? Mine is SF. You may have used different letters. So on your paper, use the letters that you put on your segment. So AB, segment AB is congruent to segment SF. So once you've finished constructing yours and naming your points, I'd like you to write your congruent statement next to or between those segments. Okay, let's practice writing congruent statements. That's showing up on those colors were actually different colors. Let me see the pink very well. Let me get a darker one. Nope, it does not. It does not have to be drawn parallel to the given line. This has nothing to do with parallel. It's just the length. So if I had drawn mine here on the top of my arc instead of in the middle, and then I connected it and I drew my segment here at an angle, that segment is still the same length because it's on that same arc. Remember what I said about a circle? If I did it all the way around, I could draw it anywhere on there and it would be the same length, right? So it's okay if your segment's crooked, vertical, horizontal, doesn't matter. We're only worried about length right now. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over this for the video because you can't see the pink. That red shows up even better. AB. All right, well, when you come back from lunch, we'll do the next step. Okay? Have a good lunch. All right, see you in a bit. You have a good lunch.
They're being going to push, you know, if they're
The lead?
push, yeah.